There is a birdemic happening! Birds are a myth! They're an illusion! They're a lie! Wake up, America! Wake up! God! God!
This is Champion Chet back again for maybe the last time. If you're reading this, I am very likely dead, bro. I recently made a post to r/conspiracy series regarding the elusive Maha skinwalkers that sparked a lot of attention around the internet. Unfortunately, this also brought a massive amount of attention towards my account that resulted in what I suspect to be government-issued surveillance on my property. If I'm correct, the government had already taken an eye to my burner accounts. I have created a vicious whistleblowing now that I believe to be compromised. The best course of action for me at this point would be to use my audience for one last gate opener. Before my trial of ExpressVPN expires, I will record a series of videos detailing the truth of my findings. If all goes well, I will be gone and off the grid before the video reach airspace. If you're reading this, I failed. Please post whatever footage I have shot. It is my wish that you give the people their truth. Birds are not real. Skinwalkers are among us. Our memories have been tampered, and the company is at fault. Chet out.
Is this thing on? What's up, guys? It's Champion Chet back again for another video. And today, we got something important to talk about, because this may be my last series of videos before I go on a little vacation. You know, I've been on the internet for a long time, years even. That being said, I still have new experiences, you know, and I've documented those new experiences for you guys to see on my channel. I'm here to tell you that I've looked into a lot and I found the truth. I'm here to spread the truth and open the eyes to a lot of people who may not be aware of these findings that I've uncovered off camera. You know, I keep it pretty lighthearted and I keep all the funny stuff in my videos, but I'm just, you know, it's time that I embraced the secrecy and let it all out there. All of the crazy things I found, you know, browsing the dark web, the deep web, the dope web. Yeah, I've been on the dope web lately. And you guys may remember a certain video I made about Reddit. And on Reddit, the homepage of the internet, believe it or not, I found a subreddit called Birds Aren't Real. And it was there that my life was changed, because I uncovered the truth. Birds are not real. And it's time that I showed you all the facts, where to find them, and other people's experiences. Joining the cause. Because we're being watched. The government knows a lot more than they're letting on. And today, we're going to jump into it. So, take the journey with me. Because the first expose that we're getting into is birds aren't real. Alright, let's hop in. This first video we're going to be looking at is actually a Birds Aren't Real infomercial from the year 1987. Very hard video to find. And I think it's a piece of history. So let's dive in. Let's watch it.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Nixon.
We all remember where we were when that happened. But what if I told you that something far greater was at play in this very moment? A saga of government corruption so entrenched in our society that to expose it would make Watergate a mere footnote in the pages of history. For the last few years, my team and I have been investigating the biggest crime ever perpetrated on the American people.
Biggest crime.
Since the Eisenhower administration, the U.S. government has been committing genocide on the entire bird population and replacing these birds with sophisticated robot replicas, equipped with 5-megapixel cameras and a sophisticated tracking system that can follow your every movement. I know this is horrifying, but please remember, stay calm. It is estimated that by 2001, 90% of the birds that we see in the sky will actually be surveillance robots. We must act now to prevent this from going any further. Join us, and together we can make 1987 the year that we take back our freedom.
The people didn't listen. 2001, that was like a decade ago. It's already been a decade, guys. This is what I'm talking about. 90% of birds are dead, replaced with drones. And they knew this in the 80s. But we didn't listen. Let's look a little bit more into it. We got this interview with the director of the Birds Aren't Real campaign on WREG News Channel 3. Let's take a look.
All right, maybe you've seen the billboard near the Highland Strip or heard the story on Wednesdays Live at 9. A campaign called Birds Are Not Real brings its efforts to the Mid-South.
And this morning we are joined by one of the messengers of the movement. Peter McIndoe is here to tell us how this all came about. We want to emphasize you were not the founder.
No, ma'am.
So how did you become aware of it? What is the message of the movement?
The message of the movement is essentially to spread awareness that from 1959 through 2001, the government mercilessly genocided over 12 billion birds and simultaneously replaced them with surveillance drones in disguise that film us every day as equally as these cameras are filming us right now.
He's a crusader.
So what do you have to back that up?
To back that up, I have as much evidence as the birds have provided.
You're looking at me like, no, it's not satire. I really do believe this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive.
Okay. So it's not satire.
I don't think you would say that if I said birds are real. You know, I don't know why the others.
Why did this movement come about and how?
This didn't start with me. This started in 1976 when whispering started coming about from the White House saying that birds were in the process of being murdered on a mass level. When this started coming about, that's when the movement began. This movement is reactionary. We really didn't start this. The government started this. From here, we're looking to see change in legislation.
Channel 3 is real news.
We're looking to see a mass spread awareness.
Are lawmakers, though, really taking this seriously? Because a lot of people will have their doubts or have their questions about whether or not the movement is really serious or not.
Yeah, that's been a really hard part of this, honestly. Since the billboard's gone up, there's been a reaction of supporters and loyal bird truthers coming out, saluting,
bird truthers rise up.
bowing. It's almost become like a sacred pilgrimage to see it. Others, though, seem to have some kind of laugh response, and it really pains me.
So on the website, there are T-shirts you can buy. There's products you can buy. There are going to be some skeptics who say, they're just trying to sell T-shirts. They're just trying to make money. Where do the funds that the movement makes from the sale of T-shirts go? Where does that go?
I would say every movement, go to any political website, they are all equally selling merchandise to spread and
Kanye.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
I like your cut, G.
Oh, okay, so the money is used to continue to buy the billboards, for instance.
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. It's to fund movement efforts, to fund activism and public awareness.
All right, Peter, we appreciate you being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Now, he looks like he hasn't slept in a very long time. He looks like he hasn't showered in a really long time. And Peter, our leader, that just shows how physically dedicated he is. He's up all day, all night, just pouring his time and energy, pouring his life into spreading the message, spreading the truth that the avian species is dismantled. It's missing from our ecosystem, and we need to fight back against the government. Let's take a quick look at the history of Birds Aren't Real. Right here in the beginning. 1947, the CIA was founded. In 1953, Alan Dulles was made the first civilian director of the Central Intelligence Agency, aka the CIA. On April 15th, 1956, he met with President Dwight D. Eisenhower and proposed a plan that would put cameras in the sky. Eisenhower approved the initial idea and asked him to return when he had figured out how to make it possible. Dooley and his team hated birds with a passion and were heard on many occasions calling them flying slugs and the scum of the skies. Dulles left the Oval Office and immediately left to an undisclosed location, meeting with various members of his inner circle to discuss the plan in more intricate detail. In this meeting, they sought to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and remove all birds from the United States, thus eliminating their fecal problem, but also replacing these birds with billions of sophisticated robot lookalikes capable of mimicking real birds in every way. Who the fuck is Neil? On June 2nd, 1959, Operation Water the Country was born. Within the next 6 years, 15% of the bird population was wiped out. During these first few years, bird prototypes were released by the 100 million. The term drone was not used at the time, and instead they were referred to as robot birds. Let it be known, the CIA was originally the only one responsible for this atrocity, and the sitting president, John F. Kennedy, at this time, had no idea that this was taking place. The president was unaware what was going on until October 3rd, 1963, when a top CIA official was overheard speaking about the operation over a tapped phone. John F. Kennedy was the president at the time, and had tapped the phone of Alvin B. 𝔸𝕣𝕖𝕟'𝕥, International Communications Director for the CIA. Kennedy believed that 𝔸𝕣𝕣𝕟'𝕥 was stealing his ham sandwich from the White House kitchen and vowed to catch him speaking about it over the phone. Instead, he heard a highly sensitive conversation that 𝔸𝕣𝕟 was having with Dulles. In it, 𝔸𝕣𝕟 said, "Yeah, Alan, I've stolen John's lunch again. Haha, he doesn't even know. I'm going to keep stealing it until he launches a full investigation. Then I'm going to plant a hidden camera and catch his reaction as I dump all the stolen sandwiches on his desk at one time. I'm going to call the new show, You've Been 𝔸𝕣𝕟'd." Dulles responded, "Haha, Alvin, that's going to be so funny. We'll have to play that clip at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. By the way, how's the bird slaughter going? How many birds have we killed so far?" "We've killed about 220 million so far. And the best thing is, the robot birds we've released in their place have done such a good job that no one's even suspected a thing." Kennedy heard this conversation over the tapped phone and immediately called both into the Oval Office. He demanded to know what they were discussing. They confessed what was taking place in the American sky late at night, and he was appalled. He told them to stop the operation at once, or he would fire them. They both explained to Kennedy why the birds needed to be exterminated, and asked him if they could show Kennedy a prototype of one of their birds before he made any decision on whether to end the Operation Water the Country. On October 25, 1963, Kennedy was shown a prototype of the Turkey X-500, a robot that specialized in killing larger birds like eagles and falcons. The robot displayed its surveillance skills as well as its ability to find and track escaped criminals. This was one of the things that drove Eisenhower to approve the project. Kennedy was impressed with what he was shown, but continued to demand the immediate shutdown of the operation. And less than a month later, he was dead. He was the first and only president to stand against the murder of the birds, from Lyndon Johnson to Donald Trump. Every president we've had since has turned a blind eye to the atrocities that began in 1959. The movement began in 1973 after the Vietnam War. It is believed that 90% of all birds have been eradicated since 2001. It's time that we looked more into the facts of today's borderline birdless society. Guys, let's take a look at some video evidence that I've uncovered through the internet from various secondary sources and primary sources. This first one is from CNN. It's raining birds.
It's the kind of bird's eye view you don't want to see.
This is like beyond nuts.
Birds are falling out of the sky dead.
4,000 to 5,000 dead birds in BB, Arkansas.
Just out of the
It was
sky.
horrible. You could not even get down the road without running over hundreds.
But at least they were on the road. Not raining onto windshields.
What
like
the?
falling frogs in the movie Magnolia. What the dead blackbirds brought out of the woodwork were oddball theories.
I've never heard of
End is
Magnolia.
near.
Listen to me right now. If you have a gun, load that son of a up.
There were conspiracy theories involving government testing and airplanes spraying bad stuff.
Chemtrails.
These birds got a direct blast of the chemtrails.
Magnetics, you know, the Earth's magnetic field.
They could have got a hold of some bad food. Like, they could have flew in and was like, hey, let's eat this food.
Everyone kept saying it was like a Hitchcock film. But in Hitchcock's film, the birds weren't dying, the people were. The Arkansas bird flap caused some to raise the specter of religious retribution.
Jesus is coming and he's
Get ready. Get ready.
Who is this guy?
I guess you can't get ready.
And then, to make matters worse, another dead bird story started winging its way around the web. Websites like Rapture Watch spread a similar story from South America.
Las causas son desconocidas.
This is too much of a coincidence for dead birds to be falling out of the sky.
So this is happening everywhere. And given this is 2011, right? Some are saying it's chemtrails. And if that's the case, you know, there could be some link here. Chemtrails, the global death of what could be the last 10%. In 2011, this could have been the last 10% of birds being murdered. And it was right in front of us. But religious fanatics are saying it's doomsday. But what they don't know is it's government perpetration. And you've seen the facts. You've seen the history. Now, taking into perspective, it's pretty easy to see that there was a Birdemic happening. And God knows how many real birds are left in existence. This could have been the end. I uncovered this on one of the Birds Aren't Real forums.
Are you kidding me? What in the...
This is said to be one of the recharge stations. This equipment gets updated and updated every, few years. So basically, what it looks like, because if birds had the standard tech, they're not putting batteries in and out. There's no way that could realistically happen. The fact of the matter is that these birds, these drones, are recharging on telephone lines and certain trees. And more recent, because this is an old clip, obviously you could tell by the quality, the Android level quality. It's what the old bird drones, the Mark 2s or 3s were using. They were recharging on trees and power lines. And though power lines are the most easily accessible, and many old Mark 2s and 3s can be seen using these same methods, the Mark 4s of today are using waves of energy in the sky. Some of you may have seen the crowds of birds being attracted by large radio towers. 5G waves are charging today's bird drones. 5G is another story entirely. The damage that it's doing to society, that it's doing to today's people. The mass production of these waves, how it affects the brain over time. These are studies that are ongoing. But the fact of the matter is birds, the Mark 4s are using them today. And I found this to be true. And if you look in this video, you'll find that some birds are overcharged and suspended in midair. Now look at this. How do you explain this? How can you say you're not a bird truther and then look at a video like this? What's going on out there is insane, Chetsters. It's a lot to take in, I know. So I understand the skepticism, but sooner or later the world itself is going to open up, and whether or not you choose to accept the truth is up to you. Because all the facts are here, they're presented. Speeches that are being given to today's undergraduates. Just look at this after-dinner speech from Drew Magnus.
Oh, no, we're good, no worries. Okay. Gotcha. Typically, we don't think about our most basic beliefs. We just assume that the things we believe to be true are so. I mean, for example, when was the last time you ever really considered whether or not you exist? Whether the Matrix is real or not? I mean, we all know it isn't, but how and why? Most of us couldn't provide a good answer to that question. And how many of us have actually sat down with all of our political beliefs that are obviously correct and actually, intellectually regarded every single one? For most of us, it's probably been a fat minute. And we all know that, birds are real, right? But when was the last time you got within 10 feet of a bird without it flying right away? Seems a little suspicious,
A good point.
doesn't it, that birds do everything they can to avoid human contact. Well, it doesn't actually, because birds aren't real. You didn't mishear me.
Let's skip ahead a little bit to 3:30.
Reliable historical account, but how do I know that birds aren't real? What are the facts? Well, let's walk through them. First is migration. I, like many intellectuals before me, refuse to accept the ridiculous myth of migration. It doesn't make sense. What kind of creature needs to leave their house every 6 months, go find a new house, only to come back to their old house in another 6 months? Besides rich people with vacation homes, nobody does this. Why can't they just stay in South America?
Why can't they just stay in South America? Wise words. Now, this right here is an example of people being completely shocked by the words they're hearing. They're laughing. Their fight or flight is kicking in, and sometimes the only way we can cope is laughter. And that's just what this room is doing. The acceptance is hard. But as a society, once we all recognize the truth, we can move on. We can stand against the tyranny of the mass production of surveillance that's affecting our lives. We could abolish the CIA. This comment says, this subreddit is so stupid. Birds are living, breathing creatures, not some sort of droid, you morons. Dissections of birds show organs, like other animals, not machinery. Idiots, get a life. Do something productive instead of this. Now, this guy's having a hard time dealing with the truth, but, us as a community, we don't shun, we don't mock the unintelligent. We simply we keep an open mind to the criticism, but we teach. We keep an open mind, and we teach the ignorant. This scientist addresses the birds aren't real movement and puts it in the perspective of his line of work, which is with
Ducks Unlimited.
All right, maybe you've seen the billboard near the Highland Strip or heard the story on Wednesdays Live at 9.
Birds aren't real.
A campaign called Birds Are Not Real brings its efforts.
It's interesting. I've actually always wondered about this.
We are joined by one of the messengers of the movement.
A skeptic.
Is here to tell us how
Don't
this
recognize
all
his
came
name in
about.
the science
You
community.
were not the founder.
From 1959 through to that film every day,
drones.
as equally as these cameras.
This is a satirical campaign to make the
Back in the
point
day, they
that-
thought Isaac Newton was wrong. And we got gravity.
You're looking at me like, no, it's not
He made gravity.
I do believe this.
You shouldn't underestimate this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive, I don't know why the other side of the argument can't be treated with equal respect.
Yeah.
Except that before we came out on air, you said this
That's
is
the whole
a
point of
satirical
science.
message.
It's the
So
search
what
for
is
the
it?
truth.
Said that.
Man, there is a lot of important information in this video that has important strategic consequences for Ducks Unlimited. We've completed 14 million acres of conservation, and we just completed a $2 billion campaign, all for naught if birds aren't real. And on top of that, I've wasted an entire career working on birds, and I intend to learn a lot more about this, and you should too.
So here we are. A scientist at Ducks Unlimited, he discovers the truth. He keeps an open mind, and he takes it forward. He takes his responsibility with the knowledge that he received, and he applies it to his work, which is closely related to the avian species. If everyone was more like this scientist, this movement could be going great places. And many are saying, where's the bird meat coming from, you know? And if you look, because if you see dead drones, their perfectly synthesized organs are left, their entrails are on the road, bloodied and bashed, and I can see you laugh. So let's jump into the frequently asked questions, the facts, if you will, to Birds Aren't Real. Their own website, you know, non-biased. Okay, all right, we're on the facts website from the official Birds Aren't Real website. Let's start with what are eggs? The eggs we see in the 21st century are specifically designed by the government to appear indistinguishable from what eggs once were, when birds were real. When the government replaced the species with robotic replicas, it was key that these replicas sustained the same activities as their biological predecessors did, including producing edible eggs. What is bird poop? Bird poop was originally thought to be oil discharge from earlier bird drone models. After further research, though, this was disproven. Bird poop irregularly falls on vehicles in large amounts. Recent studies show that 80% of bird poop in populated areas falls on people's cars. Why is this? Confidential documents leaked in 2018 revealing that bird poop is actually a form of liquidated tracking apparatus. If you walk outside and notice some bird poop just happen to fall on your car, be aware that you are now being tracked by the United States government. It is recommended that you clean your car exterior regularly to avoid this. How do you explain bird meat? All meat found in birds today is 100% synthetic. If birds suddenly became inedible, the government's entire scheme would have been compromised. In order for their transition from real bird to drone replica to make sense, they had to imitate all parts of real birds in their robotic copies. This includes tasty, edible meat, just synthetic. Synthetic meat is actually very accessible in modern times, with many fast food operations openly using in their meals. The government simply had access to these modern technologies decades before the public. See, doesn't that make sense? When you bite into a McGriddle, I don't know what a McGriddle is. When you bite into your Jack in the Box Homestyle Ranch Chicken Club, that's synthetic, and you know it. You know that's not real chicken, and it hasn't been real chicken since its conception. The government simply has that synthetic chicken and synthetic bird meat mass-produced. Now, is that so hard to believe that when you're biting into your McDonald's Chicky Nugs, it's not real? Have you ever thought that shit was real? Sorry, Susan, I didn't mean that. And this last clip is a video of our brave leader, Peter McIndoe, going to the streets to give the people the truth.
There is a birdemic happening!
This is so loud, I gotta turn that down.
There is a birdemic happening! Birds are a myth, they're an illusion, they're a lie. Wake up, America! Wake up! God!
Wake up, America.
Birds are real! Pigeons, not real. Eagles! Birds are not real, they're a myth, they're an illusion. Thank you for your time.
He's risking his life out here
Wake up, America.
against people who
Have you ever seen a bird in real life? Yeah.
cannot challenge their beliefs.
Obama drone. I'm just trying to start the movement. I will not move from this position until society has accepted the birds are not real. I'll starve. I'll die of thirst.
And some say he's still there today, sitting on that fence gate, standing up for his beliefs, standing in strike against the government. And we could all learn a thing or two from our brave leader, Peter McIndoe. We have to unite as one. Challenge our beliefs, keep an open mind, and stand against the oppressive surveillance of our government. Bird truthers unite. This is Champion Chet signing out. do a new outro. The next one, the Skinwalkers video. Here we go. Ahaha! What's up, guys? It's Champion Chet back again for another video. Oh god. Wait, no.